What's going on, guys? Nathan here, bringing you part 2 of my little mini-series, Trouble in Terrorist Town, in-depth tips and tricks, and the first part of this little mini-series of just 3 videos is The Innocent, which is already on my channel, so I'll probably put an annotation or something to that, maybe a link in the description. This video will actually be on the Traitor, and like I said, the first video was on The Innocent, so we're going to kind of flip things around. The Traitor has a few different gameplay differences, but I think is actually a little bit simpler than The Innocent, so let's get into it. So in part 1, the Innocent video, I kind of covered big topics like gameplay style you should be doing, weapons you should be using, which, weapons always transfer to each class, so I'll definitely talk about those. But for Traitor, there isn't really like a whole lot of gameplay style. It's just kind of things that differ from the Innocent, really small things that maybe you guys should be aware of. So that's kind of what I'll be covering in this commentary. So my first tip is to pay attention to the scoreboard, and I did cover this in part 1 as well, but basically the scoreboard will tell you hella information. Like, there is just a lot to be learned from that. It'll tell you how many of your allies are left, how many of the traitors are left, how many detectives are left, how many innocents are left, because I believe if you're a traitor, the whole missing in action aspect is not part of it, so you have a definite number of innocent that are left. So all of this you can learn just by pressing tab and looking at it for a second, so definitely pay attention to that scoreboard because it will help you out a great deal. Second tip, and this is pretty obvious, but there's actually a function when you're a traitor called Traitor Talk, and if you have a microphone, you should really make use of this. All you have to do is press shift while you're a traitor, and you'll be talking in a traitor-only chat channel, I suppose you could call it, and this is super useful for communicating with other traders. I use it a ton because if it's me and another trader in a room with an innocent, I will say in Traitor Talk, alright, 3, 2, 1, shoot him, and then you can actually get a much more coordinated attack on the innocent. It improves your chances of succeeding tremendously if you use communication, so definitely make use of that, and yeah, you'll just become a much better trader. I actually should have covered this tip in the beginning, but in terms of weapons you should be using as trader, and when you're a trader, you want one-shot weapons that won't make a lot of noise, and you want it to be like really quick, so I definitely stick with the shotgun, the sniper, and then the deagle. So you should always be having a deagle as your secondary because the deagle is the one-shot and you always want the capability of one-shotting enemies, but you definitely want also a more powerful one-shot as your primary, so definitely stick with the shotgun and the sniper, but feel free to ditch those weapons if people are like suspecting a traitor of having like a shotgun. Just drop that thing and pick up like a MAC-10. You can always just wait out the suspicion because usually people will forget within like 2 minutes, but yeah, definitely stick with one-shot weapons, shotgun, sniper, and deagle, and yeah. Another tip is be careful about buying things in the trader menu. People can actually hear the little like sound that Gmod makes when you pick up a new weapon. People can hear that when you buy stuff off of the trader menu, so be careful about that. Also, be really careful when you buy a knife. People can actually see on your view model that you are using a knife. I'm not sure if that's actually server specific or if it's just a general thing, but be careful if you're using a knife. Don't carry it around with you too long. Maybe buy it like right before you're about to stab somebody because people can actually see that on your person, so be careful about that, but otherwise definitely make use of the trader menu. You have credits and that menu is there for a reason. If you don't know how to access it, just press C while you're a trader and that menu will come up. I think it's C by default. It's C for me anyway, but I'm pretty sure that's default. And yeah, make sure to use that menu. That's how you get C4 body armor and all of that jazz, so that is a big help when you're a trader because it opens up the realm to indirect killing versus just gunfire or using guns to kill people, so make use of that, but once again be careful when you're using that. Another small tip, and there's actually kind of a stipulation to this as well, when you're on a map like 67th Way Minecraft B5, definitely make use of the trader room because once again, that helps you out just like that trader menu. It'll open up realms of indirect killing, and yeah, definitely make use of those because they're there for a reason, and they're pretty much like free kills if somebody's stupid enough to fall into whatever trap you've set. But on the other hand, if you're on like 67th Way, do not camp in the trader room. Nobody likes people people who do that, and it's really annoying. I mean, I would say that you have an excuse to camp there if maybe there's like two people that are like being convinced to cross the little water passage by like somebody on the other side. But other than that, you know, I mean, just don't camp that. I mean, nobody likes you, and you'll probably get kicked or banned if you stay in there too long. So yeah, make sure to use the trader room, but also, you know, don't be a douche and just camp there. So yeah. So in my first video of this little mini-series on which I explained the gameplay of the Innocent, I said that there were really 3 options that you should be doing as Innocent, and that is roaming by yourself, roaming with a small group, like 1 or 2 people, and then roaming with a big group, you know, like 5+ people. And roaming with a big group is actually like rarer than the other 2, but as a trader, I would say that only 2 of these options are really viable for success, and that is roaming by yourself or roaming with a small group. So the fact of which of these options you're going to choose really depends on your traders or your teammates, really. If you have a lot of communication set up, you know, everybody that's a trader has a mic, maybe you're playing with a friend that you know well and you can communicate with them effectively, definitely go with the small group option. And that's because in the beginning, if you have like 2 traders and you're like hooking up with maybe like 2 innocents or even 1 innocent, you can coordinate that fire, like I said before, using the T-Talk option. You can always coordinate, you know, like, alright, kill him in 3, 2, 1, and it is just beautiful. Those kills are fantastic, and like, if it's 1 innocent, they will not survive, pretty much. And then if it's 2 innocents, you know, like 1v1, one of you can typically shoot one in the head, because I don't know why, but it always just works out like that. It's like one goes down cleanly, and then the other one tends to give up more of a fight. But definitely, I would suggest going at least 1v1, you know, if you walk around in like a group of 4 with you as a trader and then your buddy as a trader and then 2 other innocents, you can typically win those gunfights simply because you both can take them by surprise. So surprise is always, you know, an advantage in that case. But in terms of roaming by yourself, if you don't have a lot of communication with other traders and they don't have mics, I definitely suggest that, because when you roam, there are pros and cons, but definitely a pro would be that you can see a lot of information. You can find innocents that are also roaming by themselves, and just to let you know, when you find innocents roaming by themselves, you definitely need to take that kill, because an innocent by themselves is just a free kill. Like that's pretty much what it is. And assuming that you're not heard, you can always catch them, you know, in the back, in the head, and definitely, you know, try to sneak behind them, because well, if an innocent is roaming by themselves, they are going to be pretty suspicious, but you can, like, pretend that you're, like, going somewhere else and then double back on them. But, yeah, definitely take out innocents roaming by themselves, but then you also actually see, like, a lot of information, who's hanging out with who, and how your traders are faring, like, if they're in a big group or small group. So definitely, you know, just that feed of information is always good. And also, if you roam by yourself, I don't know why, but innocents tend to trust you more, I would think, because it seems like whenever there's like a big group of people, it's like the innocents are all untrustworthy of the people in their group. But if like somebody just randomly joins their group, it's like everybody's like, oh, whatever, he'll just join. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of works like that. But really, you have to kind of take everything as it comes, you know, get that feed of information going, pay attention to who's alive, who's dead, and yeah. So I have a couple more tips left here. The first one is that hide your bodies with the magneto stick when you kill somebody, like even just like a 1v1 with an innocent. Definitely hide their body, because the best traders leave no trace that there was like that anything went on there. You know, obviously there's going to be like a splash of blood for a decal on the map, but other than that, you should really hide those bodies. You know, if there's like a bathroom nearby that nobody goes into, just like hide them there. And if you don't know how to put bodies on a wall with the magneto stick, you pretty much just push them up against the wall and then press mouse 1, because it will actually prompt you to do so. So yeah, definitely hide those bodies, because just no trace is better than like suspicion or like mystery surrounding a body. So yeah. Well, last tip for you guys really quick before the video ends is to definitely maintain what I would call a poker face, act exactly like an innocent as a trader, especially if you have a microphone. What makes me better than a trader, in my opinion, than the average player is that as a trader, I'm like calling out stuff that I normally would as an innocent over the mic, like, oh, M16 fire over here, or like, holy crap, why did you just kill that guy? And it's just stuff like that makes people more trustworthy towards you, or rather not as suspicious. So definitely, you know, keep up that act over the mic, and definitely if you're gonna say something over the mic as an innocent, try to emulate what you would still say over the mic as a trader. And yeah, that's definitely a useful tip. But anyway, that will wrap up this video, guys. Sorry about going over the gameplay just a little bit, but thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a rating. I always appreciate that. And if you're new to my videos, feel free to subscribe for Trouble in Terrorist Town videos and Team Fortress 2 commentaries. And as always, hopefully I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.